Before the first rays of sunlight touch the hills of Kerala, the forests awaken in silence. Across the towering slopes of the Western Ghats, a blanket of mist drifts slowly between ancient trees that have stood for centuries. Monsoon rains leave every leaf glistening, while hidden streams weave quietly through the dense undergrowth. The air is cool, heavy with the scent of wet earth, wild jasmine, and the rich fragrance of rain-soaked wood. Somewhere in the distance, a lone bird calls into the fading darkness, and the forest answers with the soft chorus of insects beginning another day. For countless generations, these landscapes have remained more than just forests. They have been places of wonder, survival, and reverence. Long before modern roads cut through the wilderness, people lived alongside these ancient trees, learning to respect the rhythms of nature. Every river, every grove, and every towering banyan seemed to carry a story of its own. As daylight faded and villages settled into the quiet of evening, another tradition came to life. Inside wooden homes, illuminated only by the warm glow of brass oil lamps, families gathered together. Children sat quietly as elders began to speak, their voices carrying stories that had traveled across generations, not through books, but through memory. These tales became part of everyday life, passed from grandparents to parents, and from parents to children, preserving fragments of a world where history and imagination often walked side by side. Some stories celebrated courage, others explained the mysteries of nature. Many served as gentle reminders to respect the forests that surrounded every village. In those days, a journey through the wilderness was never taken lightly. Dense vegetation could hide dangerous animals, sudden monsoon rains could erase familiar paths, and the darkness beneath towering trees transformed even ordinary places into landscapes filled with uncertainty. The unknown naturally inspired questions, and where answers could not always be found, folklore flourished. It is within this world that Kerala's most enduring legends began to take shape, not as records of history, but as reflections of the beliefs, emotions, and imagination of the communities who shared them. Among these legends, one name has echoed through centuries of storytelling: the Yakshi. Across Kerala, the legend appears in many different forms. No two villages tell exactly the same story, yet the name remains remarkably familiar. Some describe the Yakshi as a beautiful woman wandering beneath ancient banyan trees on moonlit nights. Others speak of a mysterious presence glimpsed only from a distance, standing silently beside forgotten forest paths or quiet village roads. What makes these stories remarkable is not whether they can be proven, but why they have survived for so long. Folklore often reveals more about the people who created it than the supernatural beings it describes. Legends preserve cultural values, collective fears, memories of the past, and the deep relationship between communities and the natural world. They become living traditions, evolving with every generation while continuing to reflect the landscapes from which they were born. This documentary does not seek to prove the existence of the Yakshi, nor does it ask you to believe every tale that has been told. Instead, it invites you to explore one of Kerala's most fascinating pieces of cultural heritage, an enduring legend shaped by forests, faith, oral tradition, and centuries of storytelling. As we journey deeper into this remarkable world, we will discover how a single figure came to occupy such an important place in Kerala's folklore. We will explore the many versions of the legend, the beliefs that surrounded it, and the lasting influence it continues to have on literature, art, cinema, and popular culture. But before we can understand the legend itself, we must first understand the land that gave it life. Because every great story begins somewhere, and in Kerala, that beginning lies among rain-soaked forests, ancient villages, and the timeless bond between people and nature. In the next chapter, we step beyond the legend and into the history, geography, and culture of Kerala itself, the extraordinary world from which the story of the Yakshi first emerged. Some stories fade with time. Others become part of a people's identity. The Yakshi has endured for centuries, not because everyone believes the legend, but because generations chose to remember it. Join us in the next episode as we continue this journey into Kerala's rich folklore and history. If you enjoyed this documentary, Please like, subscribe, and share it with others who love mythology and legends.